The encounter. Supreme Commander Vax of the Galactic Hegemony stood motionless on the command deck of the Eternal Vigilance, his 8 crystalline eyes reflecting the holographic display before him. The vast expanse of Sector 7, recently annexed into hegemony space, spread out in a dazzling 3-dimensional map, studded with stars, planets, and the strategic positions of the hegemony's 7th Fleet. Routine patrol complete. Supreme Commander, reported First Officer Zindera, her voice a melodic series of clicks and whistles translated by the ship's neural interface. All colonies report optimal production. The native species on Proxima IV have been successfully subjugated and resource extraction is proceeding at 112% of projected efficiency. Vax exoskeleton shifted in what his species considered a gesture of satisfaction. The hegemony had ruled the known galaxy for 12,000 cycles. Their technological supremacy, combined with the military might of the combined armada, ensured their continued dominance over the hundreds of species under their control. "Excellent," he responded, his voice resonating through the crystalline structures that lined the command deck. "Set course for." An alarm shattered the calm of the command center, bathing the organic metal hybrid consoles in pulsing crimson light. Unidentified vessel detected at coordinates 339-72-105, announced the ship's sentient navigation system. Configuration unknown. No match in hegemony records. Vax mandibles clicked in annoyance. Display visual. The holographic projection shifted, revealing a sleek vessel of unfamiliar design. Its hull was a matte black that seemed to absorb rather than reflect the light of nearby stars, broken only by subtle blue lines that pulsed with energy. It was small by hegemony standards, perhaps 1/5 the size of the Eternal Vigilance, but something about its design suggested a dangerous efficiency. Origin. Vax demanded. Zindera consulted her console. Unknown. Supreme Commander. Initial scans suggest it may be from the primitive sector we designated as Quarantine Zone 300 cycles ago. Impossible. Vax dismissed. The species in that sector were pre-spaceflight when we last surveyed. They couldn't have advanced this quickly. The vessel appears to be approaching the Proxima mining colony, Zindera noted with growing concern. Hail them, Vax ordered. Inform them they have entered hegemony space without authorization and must submit to boarding and inspection. The communications officer complied, transmitting the standard first contact protocol, a series of mathematical sequences followed by basic hegemony commands in 17 different linguistic formats. The response was immediate, but not what anyone expected. A single voice, calm, controlled, and speaking perfect hegemony standard, echoed through the command deck. "This is Captain Maya Chen of the Earth Alliance vessel Defiant. You are trespassing in a restricted zone established by the Orion Accords. Your annexation of Proxima IV violates multiple interstellar treaties and the sovereign rights of its inhabitants. Power down your weapons and prepare to withdraw from this sector immediately." Stunned silence fell across the command deck. Vax crystalline eyes flickered in what his species recognized as amusement. Primitive species giving orders to the hegemony, he mused. How quaint. Deploy intercept squadron. Let's show these humans the consequence of their arrogance. 6 hegemony fighters launched from the Eternal Vigilance, their organic metal hybrid hulls gleaming as they accelerated toward the human vessel. Each fighter carried enough firepower to level a small city, their pilots among the elite of the hegemony forces. Human vessel, Vax transmitted. Your defiance is noted. Submit or be destroyed. The response came not in words but in action. The human vessel simply shifted. Not in the conventional sense of movement, but as if reality itself bent around it. The hegemony fighters fired their primary weapons, beams of concentrated plasma capable of cutting through planetary crusts, only to watch in disbelief as the energy passed harmlessly through the space where the Defiant should have been. The human vessel reappeared behind the fighter squadron. There was no visible weapons discharge, no energy signature that the hegemony sensors could detect. The fighters simply went dark, their systems failing simultaneously as they drifted powerless through space. "Impossible," Zindera whispered. "What happened?" Vax Turan demanded. "Report." "Unknown, Supreme Commander." The tactical officer responded, their exoskeleton vibrating with distress. "The fighters report complete systems failure. No casualties, but all technology has ceased functioning." The human vessel remained in position, making no further aggressive moves. Captain Chen's voice returned, as calm as before. "That was a demonstration, Commander. Your fighters' crews are unharmed, but their technology has been temporarily neutralized. This is your final warning. Withdraw from Proxima IV and all other annexed territories in this sector." Vax Turan's rage manifested in a series of clicking sounds that the translator didn't bother to interpret. "All batteries, open fire. Deploy the full intercept wing." The Eternal Vigilance unleashed its formidable arsenal. Energy weapons of various configurations fired simultaneously, while physical projectiles and drone swarms launched toward the human vessel. 30 more fighters emerged from the hegemony flagship, forming an attack pattern designed to leave no escape vector. What followed defied explanation by any hegemony scientific principle. Where energy weapons struck, space itself seemed to fold inward, creating pockets of distorted reality that absorbed and redirected the attacks. Physical projectiles simply disappeared, as if passing through a doorway into another dimension. Drone swarms found their control signals inexplicably rerouted, turning them back toward the hegemony vessels. And then the Defiant responded. No visible weapons fired. No energy signatures registered on hegemony sensors. Yet systems throughout the Eternal Vigilance began failing in cascading sequence. Weapons, shields, propulsion, life support, all compromised not through destruction, but through what appeared to be complete technological rejection. There, inside our systems, the ship's cybernetic officer reported in disbelief. "Not hacking. It's as if they're speaking directly to our technology on a fundamental level." The command deck darkened as primary power failed. Emergency systems activated, bathing the organic crystal surroundings in an eerie blue glow. "Impossible," Vax Turan whispered, echoing Zindera's earlier sentiment. "No species could develop such technology independently." Captain Chen's voice returned, now transmitted directly through the hegemony's emergency communications system. "The concept of impossibility is often just a failure of imagination, Commander Vax Turan. While your hegemony spent millennia conquering and subjugating, humanity spent its time understanding. Your technology evolved through domination and theft. Ours through cooperation and discovery." A new holographic image appeared on the command deck, not projected by hegemony systems, but somehow imposed upon them. It showed a series of ancient marker buoys scattered throughout the sector, their designs predating hegemony expansion. "These markers were placed by the Precursor Council 5,000 of your cycles ago," Chen continued. "They designate Earth and its surrounding systems as a protected zone. Your hegemony chose to ignore them, believing them to be meaningless artifacts. That was your first mistake." Vax Turan stared at the markers, recognition dawning. The hegemony had indeed discovered such artifacts, but their significance had been dismissed by the Science Directorate as primitive territorial markings from a long-extinct civilization. "You have one standard rotation to begin withdrawal from all systems within the boundaries marked by these buoys," Chen stated. "Any hegemony vessel remaining after that time will be permanently neutralized. This is not a negotiation." The transmission ended. Power returned to the Eternal Vigilance moments later, but weapons and propulsion remained offline. Vax Turan turned to his first officer, his crystalline eyes now dim with uncertainty. "Contact Hegemony High Command. Inform them. Inform them that we have encountered a situation requiring immediate strategic reassessment." As the message was transmitted, Vax Turan gazed at the human vessel still holding position nearby. For the first time in his long existence, the Supreme Commander felt something his species rarely experienced: doubt. The hegemony had ruled unchallenged for 12,000 cycles. But as he watched the Defiant silently maintaining its vigil, Vax Turin couldn't escape the unsettling realization that this era of dominance might be coming to an end. And it would end not with a grand battle or glorious last stand, but with a simple, humiliating truth: they had underestimated humanity. The revelation. Captain Maya Chen stood on the bridge of the Defiant, studying the holographic display of the disabled hegemony vessels. Her dark eyes reflected the blue glow of the ship's neural interface as she processed tactical information through her neural implant. At 43, Chen had spent nearly 2 decades in Earth Alliance service, the last 5 as captain of humanity's most advanced deep space vessel. "They're transmitting to their high command," reported Lieutenant Commander Jackson Wolf, the Defiant's tactical officer. His fingers danced over the invisible interface projected directly onto his retinas. "Encrypted, but nothing our systems can't decode in real time." "And?" Chen asked, her voice calm despite the gravity of their situation. "They're requesting reinforcements," Wolf confirmed. "A lot of them." Dr. Eliza Singh, the ship's chief science officer, looked up from her station. "As expected. The hegemony isn't known for graceful withdrawals." Chen nodded. "They've dominated this region of space for thousands of years. Pride alone will demand a response." She turned to face her executive officer. "Commander Rivera, status of the Proxima IV liberation." Commander Sofia Rivera's dark hair was pulled back in a regulation bun, her expression serious as she reviewed incoming data. "Ground teams report success, Captain. The hegemony's control systems have been neutralized. The native Proximians are, well, they're celebrating." A brief smile crossed Chen's face. 3 months under hegemony rule was 3 months too many. The bridge fell silent as each officer attended to their duties. The Defiant maintained position, a solitary guardian between the disabled hegemony fleet and the newly liberated planet. To an outside observer, the confrontation might have appeared absurd. A single vessel facing down what had been considered the most powerful military force in the known galaxy. But the Defiant was far more than it appeared. "Captain," called out Lieutenant Zora Hassan from communications, "we're detecting multiple hyperspace signals. Hegemony signatures." Chen's expression remained unchanged. "How many?" 217 vessels, Hassan reported, including 3 dreadnoughts. Commander Rivera exchanged glances with Wolf. "That's nearly a quarter of their entire fleet. They're taking us seriously," Chen noted. "Good." The hyperspace ruptures bloomed like exotic flowers against the backdrop of stars, disgorging a vast armada of hegemony vessels. Their biomechanical designs gleamed with an unsettling organic quality, weapon systems already charging as they emerged into normal space. A new transmission reached the Defiant. The holographic projector activated, revealing the imposing figure of Grand Marshal Kreshvar, Supreme Military Commander of the Galactic Hegemony. His crystalline exoskeleton reflected light in hypnotic patterns, and his voice resonated with the authority of one who had commanded the deaths of billions. "Human vessel," he began, dispensing with formalities. "Your technology is unexpected. But this demonstration of resistance is futile. The hegemony has ruled the stars since before your species discovered fire. Submit now, share your technological innovations with us, and your world may be granted protectorate status rather than subjugation." Chen stood, facing the projection directly. "Grand Marshal, I studied your history extensively. Your hegemony began as a coalition of 3 species united for mutual protection. Somewhere along the way, protection became control, and control became domination. You've forgotten your origins." Kreshvar's mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. "Philosophy from primitives. How diverting. My fleet stands ready to reduce your vessel to its component atoms. Your choice is simple: submission or annihilation. There's something you should know about humans, Marshal. Chen replied. We don't respond well to ultimatums. She nodded to Hassan, who initiated a pre-programmed sequence. Around the sector, 17 spatial distortions appeared simultaneously. From each emerged a vessel identical to the Defiant. The human vessel you encountered wasn't an anomaly, Chen continued. It was a vanguard. For the first time, uncertainty flickered across Kreshvar's alien features. Impossible. Our intelligence indicated humanity possessed no significant fleet. Your intelligence was precisely what we wanted you to see, Chen explained. For a century, we've kept our true capabilities hidden, developing technologies in secret while presenting a facade of a slowly advancing civilization. Why? Kreshvar demanded. For what purpose? Chen's expression hardened. Because 500 years ago, one of your survey vessels visited Earth. According to your own records, it was a routine assessment of a pre-spaceflight civilization. You categorized us as potentially useful but currently irrelevant. Then you left a monitoring satellite in our outer solar system and departed. Standard procedure for primitive worlds, Kreshvar affirmed. That satellite transmitted data about us for centuries. And we let it, Chen continued. But it also received data, including the complete history of the hegemony's expansion. We learned what happens to species once they develop interstellar travel, how they're given a choice between vassalage or extinction. Understanding dawned in Kreshvar's crystalline eyes. You used our own monitoring system to study us, while presenting the image of a slowly developing, fractured civilization, Chen confirmed. We unified our planet 2 centuries ago, Marshal. We've had faster-than-light capabilities for almost as long, but we kept it hidden, developing technologies that your hegemony can barely comprehend, preparing for the inevitable day when you decided Earth was worth conquering. The 18 human vessels now formed a perfect sphere around the hegemony fleet, each maintaining position with impossible precision. Your arrival at Proxima IV forced our hand, Chen said. We couldn't allow the subjugation of another species in our zone of protection. Kreshvar's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of agitation. You risk war with the most powerful empire the galaxy has ever known. No, Marshal, Chen corrected. We're preventing one. Our technology doesn't rely on conventional physics as your scientists understand it. We've learned to communicate with the fundamental fabric of reality itself. What you witnessed earlier wasn't a weapon in the traditional sense. It was a conversation between our systems and yours, a conversation your technology lost. As if to demonstrate, the Defiant released a pulse of energy that washed over the hegemony fleet. No visible effect manifested, but every officer on the hegemony vessels suddenly found their neural interfaces displaying the same message in their native languages. This is not a negotiation. This is a revelation. We've accessed your complete historical archives, Chen continued. We know the hegemony has subjugated 412 species, driven 17 to extinction, and strip-mined thousands of worlds. This ends today. Before Kreshvar could respond, new holographic displays appeared on every hegemony vessel, showing evidence of atrocities committed across millennia of expansion, information carefully hidden from the general hegemony population. Your own people deserve to know the truth, Chen said. Many joined the hegemony believing they were bringing order and advancement to the galaxy. How will they react when they learn the cost of that order? Kreshvar's expression shifted to one of rage. You cannot possibly hope to defeat our entire civilization. We don't need to, Chen replied calmly. We've transmitted evidence of the hegemony's true history to every world under your control. Your own citizens are already demanding answers. Several worlds have declared independence in the past hour alone. She gestured, and the holographic display shifted to show real-time footage of protests erupting across hegemony territories, triggered by the sudden release of classified information. Your empire was built on secrecy and fear, Chen continued. Neither survives exposure to truth. You have two options, Marshal. Order your fleet to stand down and begin a peaceful transition to a more equitable galactic community, or watch your hegemony tear itself apart from within. For nearly a full minute, Kreshvar remained silent, his alien mind calculating possibilities. Finally, his mandibles clicked in what might have been resignation. "You've engineered quite a confrontation, Captain Chen," he admitted. "But know this, empires don't fall in a day. Even if I stand down now, there will be resistance, hardliners who would rather see the galaxy burn than lose their power." "We're counting on it," Chen replied. "Lasting change never comes easily, but it does come inevitably when its time has arrived." After another long moment, Kreshvar gave the order for his fleet to stand down. As weapon systems powered down across the massive hegemony armada, Chen turned to her crew. "And so it begins," she said quietly. Commander Rivera stepped closer. "The transition will be chaotic, possibly violent in places." "Undoubtedly," Chen agreed, "but necessary. The hegemony's long night is ending. What follows will be determined not by humanity alone, but by all species working together." As the Defiant maintained its vigil, news of the confrontation spread across the galaxy. On thousands of worlds, billions of beings looked to the stars with something many had never before experienced: hope. The age of the hegemony was ending. What would replace it remained to be written by those who had found their voice at last. And humanity, the species once dismissed as potentially useful but currently irrelevant, had helped make it possible, not through conquest, but through understanding, not through domination, but through revelation.